Welcome back to Keeping It Together, Marriage 101.
Today we have with us Edward McDougal and his wife, Miss Wendy McDougal. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Are you guys good?
Yes.
We're
Excited.
We're going to jump right into these questions. Thank you so much for sitting with us on today.
Thank you for having us.
First question is, tell us what makes you guys happy.
Being able to enjoy one another.
Yeah.
To enjoy one another, to spend time with one another. Something that we hadn't had in a long time, that we have children that is grown now.
So you get more time.
We have a lot more time together.
I hear that.
I think people miss the enjoyment part. They forget that your wife is there to enjoy.
Yes, yes.
So tell us some things. How do you guys meet? Can you give us some experience in like how you guys met?
We met in high school.
Wow.
Sweethearts.
Yes.
So we are high school sweethearts. I was 15 years old, too young to be dating, but I saw this handsome one and I had to have him. So from that journey, we've been married since I was 18 and he was 20. So we've been married for 30 years.
Wow, that's great.
Years.
That's good.
So a question for me is, I feel that we should have individual goals. So what kind of marriage goals should we set?
I think that we should set goals that really reflect both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, our goals should be strategically planned, that we know what each other like.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't set a goal and think, well, it's what I think
What you
was
think is selfishness.
yeah,
Yes.
selfishness. But I think it's rather that find out what she like and then start setting goals towards that. I know that my wife like to go on vacations.
Oh, wow.
Something we haven't done in so long. We used to do them every year. But through things changing in life, with raising kids and everything else, you forget about each other sometimes. And now it's time that we can go out together and get away together. We're looking forward for that type of thing. So we can go to the beach together in the wintertime. There's nothing about the water. I don't swim anyway. Just get away.
Get away.
Yes.
They could just get away and spend time together.
Yes.
And my next question is, why is it so easy for couples to give up? It's because they're not enjoying each other. It's because they're not getting away and spending time.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think that marriage is priority. It should be a priority. We let a lot of things, whether it's church, it's children, it's jobs, it's careers or whatever, we always put that before our marriages, but we owe it to each other, you know, to always keep each other a priority. So having that at the top of your list, you know, what can I do for my spouse? Let me check in with my spouse. Let me always consider, you know, what my spouse thinks before I plan to do anything, you know, so that kind of keeps things.
Yeah, that goes back to, that's a big problem for men. Even, you know, when I was growing up, being young and adolescent stage, it was like that checking in part. We always figure, I ain't got to check in to nobody.
Right,
So
yes.
that's a key thing that people should know. It's all right to check in with my spouse because, like he said before, that's what we both agree on. You know, that's, I'm taking my selfishness out, and that's prior to what she likes. You know, and that's also being respectful to her. You know, and that's what, you know, a lot of men take pride in. They don't feel like they have to check into their wife, but that's very good. You know, men do check in. I check in.
Yes.
I mean, I'm proud to say that I check in.
Definitely.
That's what keeps marriages going.
That's
you know,
right.
I'm not thinking about myself. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, while I'm out there, check in with my wife and let her know where I'm at. She might be worried, homesick, worried about me. So it's also important.
Yeah, we do. We'll send a text. Sometimes we text all day. Sometimes we sit on the phone. I could be working, he could be working, and we still on the phone. I can just hear him breathing. No conversation.
That's right.
I mean, because I'm busy and he's busy.
That's right.
But the point is, you know, it's that connection. And that's what we have to realize. You got to have a connection.
Right.
Yes, not taking one of each other for granted.
Yes.
We take each other for granted. The same things you done when you met each other, you should keep those type of things going. Of course, with the hustle and bustle of life, sometimes we feel like our children and everything that we have done in life causes us to, it pushes us away from each other sometimes. Because sometimes you will find yourself even in the middle with children. And children can know how to work parents against each other. And you don't even realize that children are working you against each other. And then you can find yourself quarreling over things that didn't really matter. But now you find out, wait a minute, your kids are grown and they're going on with their own life. And you sitting on your marriage is so up. For what?
and they're gone.
They're gone. But then we realize now, finally in life, that we have gotten older. I ain't gonna say old. More mature.
Yeah.
Because marriage takes maturity.
Yes.
I mean, you can't go into marriage thinking that you got all the answers.
Oh, that's right.
As me being a product of a single parent, you know, I didn't know how to be a husband. I came into a marriage not knowing how to be a husband. I didn't have an example or no kind of book to go by, anything. And so, even going into that, we was winging it the whole while. And then we didn't have God at first. And that's a factor that people have to believe. Without God, a marriage is just about impossible.
That's right.
I don't care how good you work at it. If you don't have God in it, it's just about impossible. It's not going to work.
With Him, all things are possible.
Definitely. So I encourage everyone that's thinking about marriage, or even are married, don't give up until you try God. I mean, if you get God involved in it, and even in the hardest struggles, if you get God involved in it, it'll change everything.
That's right.
Because He brings that unconditional love.
Yes.
How can we teach married couples unconditional love? How can we teach them about that? I mean, I know they be in marriages and some, you know, and I heard a man say, what kept their marriage? And he said, we both didn't fall out of love at the same time.
Right.
You know, because it could be sometimes, men can admit that you don't feel that same way that you came into marriage. But when she was praying, because I felt that way, it was like a strengthening for me.
Right.
You know, and at that point when it turned around, where I had my strength, maybe she was weak. You know, then I had to go on my knees and pray for her. You know, so that unconditional love. You know, it's not always there. But the thing about it is that we come back together. That's what makes the marriage successful. Not because what you've been through and how it worked out, because you stayed in the midst of it all.
Anyone can stay in a good marriage, but it takes unconditional love to stay in a bad marriage. Because you got to believe, whether people want to admit it or not, marriage is not always laughter. That's where you can prove that you really have a marriage, when you go through the bad times and stay together. Finances itself sometimes can break marriages up. And then, you know, being in affairs, which people say, affair, you're pastor now. I wasn't always a pastor. I've done things that was not right. I'm not sitting here bragging and saying that I did these things that was wrong totally. But I admit I did. But because she loved me, irregardless of, you know, and she said, we can work this out. I find out where I see where even in the black marriages, I'm going to say it that way, that we don't fight for marriages sometimes. As soon as we have something and find out that somebody had an affair, we're gone. We don't fight.
It's because they copy what TV does. Everything is not like television. If I'm willing to work for my wife, you know, hand, we do that. You know, and that's what's so is incredible, because TV make it so easy to give up. You know, and that's what we go by. But like I said, it's just unconditional love. That's what makes it successful.
Definitely.
And I'd like to add, with unconditional love, a lot of times if you think about whatever you're upset with that person about, sometimes if you consider yourself, put yourself in the other person's shoes, and you can think about, you know, how would I want somebody to treat me, you know, if I was in this situation, if I was going through, you know, with this certain thing, would I want somebody to be harsh, and you know, it helps to kind of give us a temperament to be able to endure with one another. So when we have that unconditional love, I always like to consider myself. I haven't always been perfect, and I've made my share of mistakes, and the same God that I'm trusting, you know, He can bring my spouse out. So standing there in the gap and believing for that individual in their imperfection.
And don't give up.
And don't give up. Don't give up.
I remember when me and my husband was going through some issues, and I wanted to give up. I'm like, I can't do this. So I called one of the ladies, and she says, instead of encouraging me to say, yeah, girl, it's no hope there, she was like, go rub on him. And I'm looking like, did you not just hear what I just told you? Go love on him.
I want to put a knife in his back.
And she was like, no, go love him. And then I had to put pride down, and I had to go rub him. And I know he's like, oh Lord, what's she about to do now? But I had to change the situation. I had to change the situation completely around. And start doing something different. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been the other way. And we could have been divorced and split up, all the things we done been through. But we stayed. It was funny that you guys talking about things. I think it was because of a pillow. We have Kenny likes to make the bed up with the pillows under the comforter, and I'm like, it's not a bedspread, it's a comforter. And he would still make the bed with the pillows. What part he don't get? And I started thinking, like, I can really be mad because every time I come home, I have to throw the pillows back on top of the bed the right way. And I kept saying, but I'm not right always. And I'm not the one that's right. Because to him, this could be his right way. So I have to step back and say, okay, let me see what actually he's thinking about. You know what I'm saying? But it's just my opinion. And I think that's what happens with marriage. They start thinking their opinion is always right. And it's like, it's not always right.
That's right.
I mean, I feel that the pillow should be on the top. But because
I didn't make the bed this time. So when I make the bed, I'll put it this way. And when you make the bed, you put it this way. And I understand that.
So it's like, and I had to learn that. It's like, I'm not always right. And females, being a woman, we feel like we're always right. Yes.
Especially when it's a domestic thing. Something in the house.
Yes. It's like, but I really been learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I always tell them, we all have two opinions. And then sometimes people split up because they disagree.
Right.
How would you encourage married couples that feel like there's no hope?
Well, first of all, to try to help them to see that once before we were in a situation like that. I'll just use that as an example. And a sweet little lady came to me, which was my husband's aunt. And she said, the love is still there, it really is, but it's covered. And it's like layers. And so you have to peel the layers back to kind of get to where the real love is. So try to let them see that, you know, there's still hope. It's just covered with a whole lot of things. And try to help them to see that, you know, right now they're just caught up in this and caught up in that. But the whole foundation of it was love from the start with. So, and we would encourage them, if they didn't know Jesus Christ, to get to know him. Because if he's not pinnacle, if he's not the top of their marriage, it's not really going to work for longevity. There's going to be problems upon problems and not happiness. So I would say that get Christ-centered. And then
one more thing about the love. People got to understand it takes more than love.
Yes.
To connect things, to keep it going. You just can't say I love you and that's it.
Right.
You have to show it. You know what I'm saying? You have to tell. I mean, I tell my husband this all the time. I love you, but then also I want to do things, you know what I'm saying, to make you know that I love you.
Right.
You know what I'm
Action
saying?
word.
An action word, yes.
Yes.
And I say with going into the marriage, I mean, you're going to make mistakes. So how can we get people to understand that if your couple makes a mistake, it's all right to forgive. I mean, that's what makes it so hard for them to forgive. They put that spouse on a pedestal thinking they're not going to do anything to them. But when something happens, it's so hard to forgive because of that pedestal they put them on. You know, I mean, I love my wife, but I know, you know, she's going to make mistakes, and I let God. I give it to God. Let Him deal with the mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And I just do my part. You know, of making myself better. Like you said, He works on her, and He also gives me time to work on myself. So how can we tell couples that when your wife is going to go in or your spouse is going to go in and make mistakes and not to give up because of that mistake they made?
You have to look at yourself in that situation, like my wife said earlier, that no one is perfect. You're not marrying a perfect person. You're coming into a marriage with two people trying to become one. And knowing that you don't know everything about that person. You only know the things that revealed to you and the things that you learned as y'all was dating. But you still don't know that real person. Until you marry them. And then it take a process of time to learn them then. The person you marry, you wake up and say, is this the person I'm marrying? I mean, really, is this person?
When dating, you can hide some things because you're at mama house.
Exactly. You're at mama house.
I can use some stuff there.
Exactly. But you said, wait a minute, this is the real person I married. And you think, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know. You're going into a marriage not bringing baggage. Everybody got baggage. There used to be a TV show called Baggage. A marriage show called Baggage as well. And you didn't realize what that person went. And they said, can you handle the baggage? When you get into a relationship, count the calls. I'll tell people, do research. We don't know what we're producing in marriage. Our kids are a product of you and you. And then you figure out, Hitler did not know that their parents did not know it was going to be Hitler.
Yeah.
But one of them might have a problem with hate. And the other might have a problem with violence. And then you get together and you produce him.
Yeah.
And then you say, where did this child come from?
The DNA.
You put two DNAs together that wasn't supposed to be together. And I'll tell people, do research in your marriage. As much as you love them, wait a minute, we may not be compatible. I mean, we was dating good, but this might be as far as we can go. And you better know, don't let no one force you into a marriage that you're not ready for.
Exactly.
Parents say, y'all have a child, so get married.
Get married. Push it.
You better say, no, wait. I've been child support. No, I'm not telling you what to do that. But I'm definitely saying, make sure that you know enough about each other before you go jump into it.
Right.
Because there is out here wolves in sheep's clothing.
Exactly.
They're out there.
Exactly.
And they can be everything you want them to be.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for a man just like you. You told me what to be. I want a man like this, and I want him like this, and I want him like this. So I become that for a season.
Exactly.
And for a moment.
Until that I do.
Then you
get it. Get out that Wile E. Coyote.
I mean, it's a strange thing, but it's true. And the good thing is what we're doing here, laughter. The Bible says laughter is good for the soul. Laughter is good in a marriage.
Oh yeah, that's what.
When you can't laugh with each other anymore, it's something wrong. Even at your bad times, we look over at each other. We got so mad at each other sometimes. And we just, you make me so, and you just make me so mad. And you have to laugh because if I don't laugh over here, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna explode. But we can sit back now and laugh about stuff we done so many years ago. At one time, we thought we could never get through those things. It ain't no way we'll make it till tomorrow with these things. But now we look at them and say, it made us stronger.
Exactly.
And that's another question. What are some of the things that El would do around the house that if he didn't do no more, that you would kind of miss it? Some of the stuff.
What must I say? Jack of all trades, a master at all. I'm not going to say that because he's real. He is so handy.
Yes,
I often say if something was to happen to him, I just feel sorry for the grass. Because I'll just take my car and just run around just enough to get in the house.
Definitely.
Yeah, he is very resourceful in the house. He's a handy man. He makes sure the maintenance, the landscaping. I mean, he is I remember him coming in from work, and I'm thinking he should be here by now. And after a while, I hear something. He's out there on the lawnmower, jumped out of the car right onto the lawnmower.
Gotta get it done.
It's all grass.
The grass go out this much.
I got to get it. So yeah, he is. He's very, very, very helpful around the house. I would miss everything.
And that's what men need to hear. They need to hear that encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Kenneth put some floors down. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, Jesus. But he put some floors down, and he did an awesome job. And to this day, I'm still telling him.
Couldn't believe it was me. Who you paid to come in and put the floors?
I remember doing this.
Yes. He was buying everything for them floors.
Yes, definitely.
And I kept telling him and telling him, oh, my God, those floors look really good. But they were just that encouraging him. It was just building him up. I said, oh, Lord, he's going to go build something else.
I can do the roof now, baby.
Yes.
I want them shingles.
That's what men need to hear. They need to hear their wives encourage them and appreciate them. It's so important.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you guys can say out to other couples just that will encourage them to stay strong?
I would just like to say, endure with one another. Love is kind, is patient. I'm telling you, it is for the long haul if we would just endure. There's so many times that, I was thinking about the way that we used to argue, and, it could go on and on. Yeah. We can sabotage things just by not letting things go. Yeah. You have to pick and choose your battles. We know each other so well now. It's like the back of our hand. I know what I can almost fill in a sentence. And we can be over someone's house. I mean, we know each other to that way. And I know when he's ready to go. And we don't even make, real eye contact. But I can feel him going, babe, it's about, you're about ready to go. So we have that type of connection with each other. So it's important to just endure, just because it gets better. It really does.
Yes.
What it was for me, I did not want the enemy to win by outlasting me. I wanted to see what all this was about, because surely it's got to be something good that's going to come out of this. And if I leave, if I move, I remember I would leave at the drop of time when, in the early years. We would get in a argument or something like that. Well, I'm leaving. I don't have to stay. And he said, "You ain't gone yet," you know. And I would stand and just bag up every piece of garment I had and bag it up and go and stay. And the next day,
I'd be like, "Martin, come on back, baby." But you have to give up the right to be right.
Exactly.
Give up the right to be right.
Nobody wins the argument.
There's no winner in the argument. Give up the right to be right. That's all I can give you. Just give it up.
That's right.
I mean, it don't matter who's right. If the house is on fire, put it out.
That's right.
It don't matter who set it on fire.
That's real good.
Put the fire out.
I agree. I agree.
For that.
Well, we'd like to thank you guys so much.
We thank you.
Yes, we enjoyed ourselves.
Yes, I really enjoy you.
Before we sign off, look at your wife, and if there's one word you can describe your wife, give us that.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Good. Good.
All right, join us again. Keep it together. Marriage 101.
Till next time.